Welcome to the Clean Power Hour Live. I'm Tim Montague, your host. Today is May the 30th, 2025. And we're bringing you the latest solar storage and other renewable energy news. Welcome to the show, my co-host, John Weaver.
Hey Tim, 2025. Yes, that is today's year. That was funny. Uh, Very nice to see you.
Good to see you too, brother.
I'm enjoying building solar every day and keeping up with it. Uh, Interconnection stuff flying around, watching
How are
all
you?
the.
How are you rolling with the solar coaster? That's what I want to know. Emotionally,
Uh,
psychologically, it's been a very tumultuous year, and it got even more tumultuous with the announcement of the big bad bill, otherwise
yes.
known as the budget reconciliation bill, which could really be painful for residential solar and commercial solar. How are you reacting to that so far?
Well, it's challenging. The residential industry is no longer potentially going to have a tax credit, and that means the price of everything has sort of kind of gone up 30%. But in reality, people were taking that full payment out of pocket anyway. So yes. And then what's the discount that they give? You know, a hamburger today versus a hamburger tomorrow. Is it 10% in their hearts? Is it 20%? It's a tax credit. Maybe it's spread over a couple of years. So maybe we can drop our price 10, 15% and put pressure on everyone else and say, listen, guys, you want us to be able to still sell, you need to give us better pricing. So I'm uh I'm actually hopeful for my company particularly because we don't do lease products. We do straight cash. So, you know, with the lease stuff, um, that's taken a lot of hits. Mosaic, it looks like they're going under as a lease company,
Yep.
and that was a big product. Hearing that from PV Magazine, saw it on Reddit a couple of days ago. Um, and so, you know, I feel like we'll be okay as a company, but my company does like, I don't know, an installation every week, you know, that type of thing. So we're not the market. There's going to be a lot of pain in the market. There's going to be a lot of margins tightening because people are going to have to figure that out because now it's going to be a different price. You have to be somewhere in between 30%. I don't think the prices have to drop 30% to keep up, but something. They got to drop something.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about this because it is the gorilla in the room and everyone's thinking about it. And this is how I see it. And we're not done yet. Congress passed this bill. I
Correct.
mean, the House passed the bill. It's now in the Senate, and that could take several months for them to grind on it. Um, the two things are present for me. The industry has ups and downs. 2025 was already a tumultuous year, and so, potentially a down year. And then this. And we thought, you know, the Trump administration might take a scalpel to the IRA. It currently is a sledgehammer. That's the expression I like. SEIA, Solar Energy Industries Association, has done an analysis, and they think that this bill could mean the loss of 330,000 jobs, 331 factories closed or canceled, and $286 billion in local investments erased. So this is non trivial. Clean energy is a big part of the US economy now. And a lot of these projects are in red states. So that's what I don't quite gather is who masterminded this, knowing full well that this was going to hurt many, many of their core constituents. But good companies will survive. The industry has gone through ups and downs before. Good companies will survive. There's a lot of bad companies in the solar industry, and they give the industry a bad name. So I would love to see more of those companies go bye bye. I don't know if Mosaic was a bad company, but I don't know many people that are super fond of Mosaic. On the other hand, either.
Wow. I didn't know that. I don't know much about Mosaic. We've never really done lease products for a residential company.
Yeah.
I know in general, the lease companies with the dealer fees have never had a great general support, but that's just what the market was made of. So
Yeah. So stay tuned. The advice I give my EPC clients is diversify, lean heavily into storage.
Yeah.
Check out companies like Alexity. They were on a webinar with myself and CPS and a company called Freedom Solar out of Colorado earlier this year. Alexity manages the building HVAC system and other systems. So it's kind of like turning your building into a battery. I think the solar plus world is the future of the solar industry. If you're a solar only installer, you're in for a world of hurt. If you're a solar battery and other installer slash consultant, I think that there's hope and, you know, you can add a lot of value. There's a lot of low hanging fruit in the built environment if we get savvy and use the technology that we have. Check out Alexity, Elexity. That is my new favorite building management system company. And
Have you had them on the show recently, I'm guessing?
we did a webinar with Casey Miller, the CEO,
Mhm.
back in March.
Okay.
So he'll be back at some point. I interviewed their founder some years ago, but yeah, just been learning more and more about Alexity, and I think that they're onto something.
I would like at some point to learn more about home energy management. The first system I really learned about was from my favorite battery manufacturer or residential, Sonnen. Sonnen. I don't know exactly how to say their name, but they had a great product that they put out. I think it's the Eco line. I can't remember, and it has a home management software built into it. It contains connections with, I believe it was smart meter switches, so smart breakers from Eaton, I believe the article I wrote. And it was just
Yeah.
a nice piece of hardware. And I just like the Sonic battery. I like their VPP, etc. It's just so yeah. I want to learn more about Resi stuff. I'm doing a nice residential system right now. I'll have some pictures of it soon once we install it. But it's gonna integrate a nice a Generac and a Generac generator, an N-phase battery, N-phase output management, a few other things to make a nice system for this customer. And it just ties together nicely. So, a little more than just solar. As you were saying, I was thinking about that as you said it. It's solar plus because we're tying in two or three pieces of hardware. And so anyway,
Yeah.
I think it's
Well, coincidentally, I'm interviewing Norm Taff at the Midwest Expo in 2 weeks on June the 10th. If you don't know about the Midwest Expo, check it out. Midwest Solar Expo. It's now an Inner Solar show. Inner Solar bought the show from the founder, Jake Rosein. But Norm Taff is the executive in charge of Generac's storage division. And they bought Ecobee, the smart
Ecobee.
thermostat company.
All right.
And so now they are leaning heavily into the smart home energy space as well. They're well known, of course, in the backup generator space. And then they bought, I can't remember the battery company they bought, but they bought a good battery company and are, very active in the Resi and now expanding into the CNI storage space as well. But Alexity, just to be clear, Alexity is a CNI uh, service company. See, I call it a software as a service, but
Okay. Okay.
um,
So that's commercial, not. So I didn't even know. I
commercial.
don't know very many on the or know of too much on the commercial side. So that'd be interesting to listen to.
Yep.
All right. I got good news.
Okay, good news. What's that?
Just because there's so many like terrible things that are like stressful. The first item, actually, I guess now the second item that's on our list over here, uh, Waffle
Waffle
House
House?
is getting fast chargers.
Yeah. I love Waffle House. I wish we had Waffle House in Illinois. Maybe in Southern Illinois they do, but Waffle House is a Southern thing.
Yes.
Where do you have Waffle House near you?
Nowhere near me. It's just when I go south to
Okay.
visit my family and go home. Once I
Yeah.
hit North Carolina, roughly, maybe probably Virginia too. I bet you Pennsylvania as well. Maybe out west in New York, upstate New York. We'll have to see. I don't know if there's too many in Massachusetts,
Yeah, I think
but
it's a southern thing.
it definitely a lot more southern. There's the Waffle House Hurricane Index. Are you familiar with that by any chance, Timothy?
No.
So Waffle Houses know, Waffle House management, they're conscious of hurricanes quite, and they prepare for them. And FEMA, it was a joke that FEMA would watch Waffle Houses for when they opened for how to rate areas or something like that and say, okay,
Hmm.
the Waffle House is open. It's now safe for general populations to go back because there's food available. But the Waffle House was like the first one, and they always open quickly and aggressively. And so there's something about the Hurricane Waffle House Index. So just, if the Waffle House is open, it's okay, Tim. Everything is going to be okay. And if
And
Waffle House is getting, yeah,
apparently they think EV charging is important.
think about that.
It's
Hurricane hits, you get waffles, you get eggs, and your car charges.
fast DC fast charging. Um, Interesting. So who is the okay, it says EV charging arm of British oil giant BP just announced a strategic relationship with American diner chain to bring DC fast charging to a network of Waffle House locations. This story comes to us from Electrek. Michelle Lewis, May 20th, 2025. Waffle House is getting DC fast chargers. This is cool.
Yep.
Are they going to do it at all their stores, do you think?
Probably not. I mean, there's so many Waffle Houses. Like there's Waffle Houses in some places every other stop. So you don't want DC fast charges that often. But
Uh-uh.
no, yeah, probably not.
Oh, it mentions this Waffle House index too. That's funny.
Oh yeah, there it is. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Waffle House Index.
Yeah. So BP is into fast charging. That's good.
That
I
makes
like that.
sense. Makes absolute logical sense. You got to figure out the money. Got to figure out the revenue off of vehicles. That's where they made their money.
Yeah.
Different form of energy sale, though. Different form of sale.
Yeah.
So Waffle House, that was my good news. I wanted to start off with good news, just because everything else is rough. And I got other good news posts too, so you can be entertained by all the cool records in California, um, if you really like that kind of stuff. Because
Yeah. So what's the read us the headline and then I'll get the story up.
solar and battery output records, solar and battery output records set as California continues aggressive ramp. And the records that are being set right now are kind of fun, concurrently intertwined. Solar is peaking just over 21 gigs recently, and battery output just last weekend or 2 weekends ago went over 10 gigs for the first time. As well, the state announced that they broke through 15 point something gigawatts in April of total capacity deployed, which is a healthy chunk. So the
Yeah.
key
15
detail,
gigawatts of installed energy storage capacity.
yeah, that's good. And this is probably greater than 3.75 hours of, or greater, definitely greater than three. So it's definitely greater than 45 gigawatt hours of capacity. I
Mhm.
would put money it's greater than 54 gigawatts because a whole bunch of it, all the utility scale is 4 hour stuff. So like
Yeah.
80-90% of the capacity is 4 hours, and then 10% is 2 to 4 hours, maybe some of it's six, but it's gaining on an average of four. So it's really close to 60 gigawatt hours. That's when I want a sales pitch. That's the sales guy in me. The
Yeah.
engineer
Yeah. So
knows a
John
little
is
bit
just
less.
saying if the capacity is 15 gigawatts, that translates into 60
Almost.
gigawatt hours potentially if it's
Yeah,
a 4 hour
almost.
battery. Um,
Yeah, like we break. This is my article, so like near the bottom of it, I break into the percentage of hours per capacity type, residential, commercial, and and utility, and all the utility scales, the big stuff. So, but yeah. So anyway, just California is growing, and what's really interesting is that the peak of the solar number is now going up, partially because the batteries are absorbing up to 8 gigawatts in the middle of the day. And that 8 gigawatts of capacity would have been curtailed solar. So now we're seeing solar growth as a result of battery growth. Batteries are now enabling solar power.
Yeah.
And I think that's very
Yeah,
significant.
batteries are a great way to attack the duck curve. I mean, on this graph that's on screen right now, you see the battery curve, the purple line has somewhat of a duck curve shape, but this is just the generation curves. This is not the demand curves. The demand curves would show us the true
Well, you
duck
can see
curve.
it. You can see it. Look back. You can see the purple during the daytime, how
Yeah,
deep it goes.
yeah,
So
right
that's
here. This
sort
is
of,
when the battery's charging, right?
yes, yes.
When the solar's cranking. And that's why batteries are great, right? You can store energy when the photons are free and then release the energy when the kWh is expensive in the evening. And that's how you create value with a battery. Load
So,
shifting.
so solar powered evening peak battery records being set. This is the capacity thing where they show how much capacity from each product. Utility scale is
I lost your audio. You're muted. You are muted.
right. Maybe I'm unmuted now.
That's good. I don't know how
Yeah,
that
sorry.
happened, but
Well, it goes to do. So anyway, on and off. So that utility scale, that 13.2, that is probably 98% 4 hours. The commercial is probably 3 to 3.5 hours, maybe 2.5 to 3.5. The residential probably similar-ish, 2.5 to 3.5. So that's, that ratio probably comes up to like 55 gigawatt hours. And then on the right side, that's the goal by 2045. Now, what's
right.
interesting is that the rate of growth here is that we could blast through 30 gigawatt hours or 30 gigawatts in like 5 years. In fact, there's a scientist who says the rate of growth that's been going on would suggest like a year and a half more, 1.2 or 1.5 years. So we're growing really fast. Our own ambitions at this point are now what would stop California from deploying enough batteries because we can do 30 gigawatts. We have the costs, we have the technology. It's really about optimizing the deployment. I think we're in a different phase now. I think with the collapse of battery pricing, as long as these stupid tariffs, and we could talk about tariffs after this, but as long as these stupid tariffs don't stay stupid, we should be able to whip California's solar plus storage question. Like right now, we could do it. We're now at that stage. It's going to keep getting better as we deploy it for 10 to 15 years. But right now, we have the technology. Dun, dun, dun. Like, whatever cool soundtrack. We can do it. We have the batteries. We have the solar. We're done. How we do it? That's the next question. That's the real question, I guess, because that's the one that's going to be answered.
Yeah, the technology adoption curve really does work. I think the stat is as you double the adoption of a technology, the price falls by, I don't know, 40% or something, some big amount. And so it's a good thing. And we're going to see a lot more storage on the grid in C&I and residential. Right now, a lot of it is utility, as you could see there in that graph in John's story. But that's changing also. What's next?
Tariffs. We talk about the whipsaw tariffs that are ongoing.
So
This is an
brutal.
article. Yeah, this first article is about 2 weeks ish old. And then the second one is like yesterday and still being updated. Like it's live ongoing entertainment, Timothy.
Yeah.
Uh, Politics is now fun. So the first articles shows China and Trump, which is the major source of batteries. So in my mind has a lot of batteries on it these days, as having a 90-day tariff pause. And so the tariff for batteries fell to 30, or to China in general fell to 30%. And that means the tariff on batteries is somewhere in the 40 to 60% range, which is reasonable if batteries are now going to cost $100 per kilowatt hour. We can manage it. We'd like it lower. This would put it back to 2023 prices. We prefer it in 2026 pricing, but it doesn't. It means California can keep going with their revolution. Is really what I would want to say. I don't know exactly though, because I'm not in the battery world, the big battery world. But I think based on some math I've done, at 40 to 60% tariffs, batteries in California can make it happen with their expensive ass grid is really the key. We'd love to see it go much lower though. We'd love to be buying some shipping containers at $70, $60 from China, and then doing 40 to 60 on that. But we'll see.
Yeah. So the U.S. and China have announced a 90-day pause on their huge reciprocal tariffs while they continue negotiations, with the effective tariffs on batteries more than halving to around 60%. There's also emerging news, John, that the courts have started to conclude that Trump's executing tariffs without Congress is not legal.
So that's the second article that's right here, is exactly that. And it's whipsawing. So the court has, as of yesterday, said, hey, Trump, you're not allowed to do this. This is not your purvey. And specifically with this one, it wasn't the court thing. What they said is that the executive order, the Enemy Act, or whichever thing he picked to use as a logic, wasn't allowable. So a trade court, the International Trade Court, said, hey, you can't use that law to do this. And so they said, you got to pause it. Trump then went to the next level appeals court and said, hey, we're changing our reason or something. That appeals court said, all right, you can continue. So this is now the current status. Trump's tariffs can continue for now, appeals court says. So this is that ongoing thing, the next layer of the whipsaw. So they're going to come up with some logic, maybe, to say, hey, this is why we're going to do it. And then it's going to continue. Or not. Or at some point it will hit the 60-day window, or I don't know exactly. But this is our ongoing question. For me, for my financial model, what all this means in the real world is that if I'm really going to do a battery, I'm going to have to put it at 60% tariff on top of it. Because all this stuff that's below it, I have no idea what all this stuff means. It's moving so fast. It's so nutty. Even the experts have different tariff ranges. I don't know, can I buy this component here and buy this one here? And is there a combo tariff if I assemble it here versus there? I'm just watching and having fun reading, posting stuff on Blue Sky because all kinds of terrible entertainment.
Yeah.
Okay, so this video is half cool and half annoying.
Okay.
It's half annoying because it's like 2 minutes of fading in and out of barely showing anything. But then once it gets going, it's not bad. It's just another pair of panel robots. It's a combo. Rosein has built something similar to the group that you work with. Forgot their name. Luminous. Rosein has developed something similar to Luminous. They have a 2 combo robot, one for carrying and one for lifting. So you'll start to see it come into place, but it's just kind of annoying. Like, play this at double speed or triple speed or something, so we can get through this till we get to the good stuff. So there you go. We got a nice robot there going on. There we go. Pretty cool. That's your panel there. Now you're starting to see the arm robot. Just gonna lift the modules, put it right up. There you go. Wonderful. Up, down. And it's just a nice combo. So the key is with Rosein, if they're using it, they're doing it scientifically. They're a big company. They have a lot of labor. They have a lot of data. They have a lot of professionals who know how to do the science and the math to determine how these numbers actually work out, what kind of labor it means, attachment, breaking stuff. What's the work that these people are doing and how's it going to turn out? So I like the fact that Rosen is doing it. There you go. Nice clear image of the whole structure.
Finally, some good lighting.
See, told you. It wasn't just me who was complaining, right? I like to complain. There we go. Look at that. That's the best view right there. It's like doom, 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 left, right, left, right. There's a lot of guys watching, so you don't know how many people are there to actually work. But I think you need two people per row for one
Yeah,
machine. And it seems like they can just blast through it. Now all you need is a third person who's dropping the pallets on the back of that back machine so it never runs out. And just
sure.
don't. Now article, the purpose of this article is not actually to, well, I guess it was to show off the robot, but it was specifically to say that Rosein is thinking about selling rights to it or something, and they want to share it with the industry. And maybe they think they can only save so much money, and they think they can make more by selling to all their partners. But I thought that was interesting, is that Rosein's going to put it out there. I was really more so interested in just seeing the unit. I don't really care if they sell it because I know other people are doing it. So, but awesome if they're doing it. But I like that Rosein thinks they have it because that's just a big company who I always thought was pretty awesome.
Big electrical contractor in California. Like when you're in California, you see the Rosenden offices around, but I don't know if they're working across the country. I don't see
I
them
think
much in the Midwest.
I think they're all across the Southwest, probably into Texas, and they're probably only doing projects bigger than 25 megawatts.
Yeah.
AC. If there's not a substation included in the project, don't call them.
Yeah, exactly. Utility scale only. Should we talk about coal to solar?
Yeah. I mean, I've been listening to Vistra claim a lot of stuff for so long, coal to solar, and But what is this? Is this because you know this better than me, so you're gonna have to talk about this. This is local to you. Vistra's a big Southern Illinois company.
Well, Vistra is, I think, headquartered in Texas,
All right.
um, but they operate power plants out west also. Um, they've done some of the largest storage projects in the country. Period.
They have
Uh,
the battery that caught on fire recently. The one that's
yes.
at Moss Landing. That's
Yeah,
theirs.
Moss Landing is a Vistra project.
Yep.
But
But in
anyway,
Southern Illinois, they have a lot of coal and a lot of solar in Southern Illinois. They're big time there.
yeah, Illinois is a coal state, and we got this legislation in 2021 called SEIA, the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act. Sandwiched inside of that was what I think many of our colleagues would refer to as an AstroTurf bill for Vistra, which
Mhm.
operates a fleet of coal plants, which gives them really juicy incentives to convert these coal plants from coal to solar and batteries. And so, anyway, this is a story about those projects. They are actually coming to fruition now. They're getting built, but they're hitting delays because Vistra cannot acquire transformers and switchgear. There's a huge backlog globally for transformers. Go figure, John. Here we are. We're tripling the grid. We're electrifying everything. And somehow we can't build transformers fast enough. I don't know why we haven't figured this out, but it's a thing. So we've got a photo here of a 780 megawatt coal fired Edwards power plant in Bartonville, Illinois. And on Tuesday, they asked the feds for a 2-year extension on the interconnection deadline because they want to interconnect this 546 megawatt solar and battery farm to the infrastructure there, but they need new gear and they don't have the gear. So it's a problem. I didn't expect to see this story, but here it is. I guess I should have expected to see it. This is a reason to be very careful about where you source your transformers if you're doing utility scale work, I guess, because some companies have better supply than others. So just be careful.
Wow. Man, 2-year interconnection extension for a pretty big facility. A lot of batteries, 833 megawatts total. Interconnection of looks like 546 megawatts, 106 batteries, 44 solar. It's a big plant, a lot of solar.
Yeah, I mean,
Man,
I've been watching these projects, and
yep.
I don't chase utility anything anymore. I was at one time trying to be a utility scale EPC business developer. I failed miserably, but these were on my radar, and it's a good story. It's the coal industry is pretty much struggling because it can't compete with natural gas or solar and batteries, and so coal companies are going out of business, and the utilities are shutting down their coal plants, and it's just not economic. Illinois is a coal state.
Yep.
My grandpa ran the Black Diamond in Chicago. It was a coal industry magazine. Literally, my family was in the coal industry because Illinois is a coal state. And now it's a solar, wind, and battery state. It's okay. This is life, right? We go through these energy transitions. We used oil, we used whale oil. Sorry, we used wood, we used coal, we used whale oil, we use fossil oil. Now we use wind, solar, batteries. Just
So I thought an interesting thing about this is that their interconnection agreement is set to August of 2028. So it's still 3+ years out. They're asking for the extension on that by 2 years. So they're asking for 2030. So it's not even like it's a nearby issue. They're saying they're specifically talking about certain breakers. Instead of them being 12 to 18 months, now it's going to take 3+ years. So the three
yep.
years would get you to the August. And then you need a little chance to turn that system on and make sure they work. So wow, man, that's an expensive breaker, and I get it. I mean, I get it because I have challenges. But yeah, it says the supplier cannot it be expected to deliver them until the fourth quarter of 2029 for one of the transformers. So that's still a fast turnaround, taking that transformer to flipping the system on. They're gonna have to have everything in place, just sitting there, accruing interest on a loan. Oh, that kind of hurts a little bit. So interesting, man. Maybe I should cover this. I should research a little bit and cover it for PV Magazine. Good source in there, Tim.
Yeah.
That's a risk. That's a big risk.
Should we talk about Longie?
Yeah, well, it's just a retirement of a famous person or a person that should be famous. Um,
Li
I don't know how.
Zhenguo.
All right, good job.
Zhenguo? I'm
I
not
have no
sure.
idea. I don't try to say names, man. I mess up every name from every language. It doesn't matter.
Why is he
Lee.
famous?
He is the CEO of Longie. Like he's the one that brought them from whatever to being the coolest. Like if I were to buy some panels, it might be from them. Like they're just up there. They are the third largest, second largest, maybe the largest solar company. It's them, it's Tongwei, it's Jinko. They're doing all kinds of super research. This guy's an engineer CEO, and he's brought the company to being, they're maybe as consequential. They're not as consequential as an oil company yet, but I remember reading something that said the amount of energy they now produce is more than oil companies with their hardware, and that
Hmm.
their annual production is getting so big that it has a significant effect. And so I just wanted everybody to know that Longie's president, he's no longer going to be the day-to-day CEO type, but he's going to be focusing on the CTO type of stuff, how to run the R&D, how to develop new products. He wants to stay in that side of the arm. Uh, and I also wanted to point out that he kind of broke my heart a little bit, and he said perovskite silicon is still an immature product, and its feasibility remains technically unproven.
Yep.
And I don't like reality sometimes, Tim. So
Yep.
whatever.
And the story also references back contact products
Yeah.
as being superior. So their Longie is not long on TopCon, I gather.
No, they're not. They do have TopCon product, but that's not really where they went. They went toward back contact, and they
Mhm.
are. The efficiencies are greater on the front side. They're starting to do bifacial back contact as well. They've been able to take the SunPower technology that kind of languished, I guess, with not enough R&D, and bring it to the next level.
Yeah.
So I'm happy. Happy to see that having happened.
I think we have too many stories here to cover, but
We
do you want to
always do,
do
Tim.
one or two more? What do you want to do?
All right, let's do one or two. I'll do the fast one. Let's do project of the week because this is an awesome little system.
Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to get it because uh
Blue sky, we
well,
don't like blue sky. I can
it
share it.
showed up. It showed up here.
All right, high tech.
All right, what's the project?
It's it says 16. It's actually 11.6 kilowatt residential installation in south coast here of Massachusetts. And I just wanted to show off my little residential company and just the clean looking modules. The Just the system. It was a nice one. We'll get to the final picture. It's really cool. But there we
Do
got
I,
a nice
do I
tie-in.
click on the photo or
Oh, sure. We don't have to. Now we can see these. These you can click on. This shows just some details of the racking. I like seeing this. This is Solar Edge Optimizer. You can see the distance from our flashing feet. It's about 4 feet, 48 inches. I don't know. I thought
what
it was
kind of
nice, clean
racking is
work.
it? Do you know?
This is Snap and Rack. We use Snap and Rack
Okay.
flashing. Oh, well, no, it's a quick mount flashing with Snap and Rack. You could probably click on it and tell. Click on that third image. Maybe zoom in on it. Or go to the prior image, one to the left. Let's see if you can't really see. But this
Yeah.
is, just a nice, clean residential system. You can see the degrees the roof is tilted at. And then the final picture, it just looks nice. We fit up his roof really nicely. And the setup was just clean. I like the look of it just because the house was red and the tree behind it had a little red color. But it's just a
Yeah, it's
nice,
pretty.
clean, yeah, south looking system. Our pricing is in the mid to upper twos right now, but we're getting a little bit
Really?
better and a little tighter. Yeah, we're really
Sub
upper
$3
twos.
Resi Solar in
Yeah,
Massachusetts, or where is this? Rhode Island?
no, Mass. We're all Mass,
Oh,
South Coast. Definitely under $3. All of our proposals, unless you have a premium module and end phase, um, we're holding them below 3. So that's a project of the week. So I liked it. It's just kind of interesting to learn. We're getting a little better as a team moving through residential as we relaunch Whaling City, and it's kind of nice. So we could end on a sad note, or we could end on that beautiful note. We could end on a happy technology note, a sad note, or
you're talking about Meyer Berger?
damn it, Tim, you brought it up.
Well, we've always been fanboys of Meyer Berger.
I know.
I don't think it's the end of Meyer Berger in the U.S., but it is a sad day. They announced that they're going to close their solar panel factory in the U.S.
Uh, you want to go
Um,
take it over, Tim? Maybe they'll let us do it.
yeah,
I
right.
mean, they got Meyer Burger hardware there for assembling modules. We got trained staff. They've been deploying some modules, I believe. Got 100 million bucks.
Yeah, right.
And no,
Yeah, it is sad to think about all the money that's getting invested in the United States in these solar panel factories, battery factories, and a lot of it may not see the light of day, or it may get shut down after it's producing,
yeah,
um, because Congress kills the IRA. I mean, it's very good industrial policy. We want manufacturing back, and the solar and storage industries are a way to get manufacturing back in the U.S. I don't understand that. It boggles the mind. So we'll be back with our live news roundup on the 13th of June, mid June. It's starting to be middle of summer. Um, and with that, I want to say check out all of our content at cleanpowerhour.com. Tell a friend about the show. By all means, there are so few people in the greater scheme of things who know the Clean Power Hour exists. So tell a friend. Oh, we now have merch on our website. So if you go to cleanpowerhour.com, you can go to a shop link. You can get a nice Nike polo, all kinds of shirts, hats, jackets, bags with the Clean Power Hour logo. How can our listeners find you, John?
Commercialsolarguy.com. That's our main website. That's where all the good stuff mostly gets shared. Then there's our cell phone numbers, which you can call us any time of the day because we like to hang out and listen to our cell phones constantly. Yeah, I'm on Blue Sky all the time. I'm on LinkedIn. We have an office in New Bedford. Commercialsolarguy.com. That's the easiest, quickest place. I'm John at commercialsolarguy.com.
There you
And
go.
that's it. So we like to build stuff. It's really nice. We like to build solar carports where we just know the process. Pieces of it, big pieces of it. So
All right, we'll see you in 2 weeks. I'm Tim Montague. Let's grow solar and storage. Take care, John.
yep.